Let me call this meeting to order. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the January 9th, 2014 meeting. It is 7:31 p.m. Ms. Sarcisi, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Ms. Hannikin.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Tully.
I would like to now ask everyone to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nick, would you please say the invocation?
Sure. First, let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for our many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular this assembled council to have the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement. Amen.
Amen. We're very fortunate to have a very hard-working young lady, our Executive Director, Yolanda Walker from the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management. I've known Yolanda for quite some time, and this lady is a blessing to our whole county. Yolanda, you have a presentation for us tonight. You ready?
Yes, I do, Mayor.
All right.
Well, first of all, Mayor Cookta, members of council, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to get a chance to speak to you. And the reason why I'm here is we are an agency that is charged by the state of Ohio to plan for recycling in Summit County. We also plan for solid waste capacity or trash capacity for Summit County, in that what we do is designate certain facilities throughout the state where our trash goes, and that activity enables us to make sure that the residents and commercial and industrial entities in Ohio have adequate capacity to dispose of their trash. Now, in order to effectively manage trash, one of the functions that we serve is to divert as much trash from the waste stream as possible, and we do that by implementing recycling programs. Now, we used to be known as the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority. When we were established in 1989, you can see our very first logo, and then we transitioned to an acronym of our name, and still the issue with that was a lot of people didn't know what we really did. A lot of folks thought we were associated with a wastewater treatment plant and not with recycling. But 2 years ago, we implemented and devised and developed a strategic plan, and our board thought that it was wise for us to change our name. We went through another process, changed our name. We have a new mission and vision statement that members of council you will see in our annual report. And our aim is to lead, teach, act, target zero. And what does target zero mean? Well, we really want Summit County to strive to be a zero waste county. And in that, we also help companies in the area with strategies to manage their waste better, to reduce the amount of waste that they have, and to divert as much of that waste as possible from the waste stream. Now, in order to do that, we are responsible for writing a plan for how we're going to implement our programs, and that plan is submitted every 5 years to the Ohio EPA. But before we submit that plan, I'm required to ask all the communities in Summit County to approve the plan. So earlier in November, we submitted a copy of our plan to you for your review. Now, it is about 264 pages, and that's why I'm here today, to answer any questions you might have about the plan, because it's very technical, I know, but it does contain our aim for the next 5 years. And our aim is really threefold. Since 2005, we've been giving grant funds to communities in Summit County. You can see from this summary sheet, since 2005, the amount of grant funding we were able to provide to the city of Macedonia individually. We will continue that program over the next 5 years. The purpose of that program is to support communities' efforts to provide recycling programs and activities to their residents. The third point of our programs that you'll see in our plan is that we are planning to expand commercial waste reduction and recycling opportunities to businesses in Summit County. You'll also see in our annual report, I'm going to talk about 3 of the programs this evening, 3 commercial recycling programs that are very unique in Summit County, well, actually in the state, especially our composting program. We're the only composting program that delivers free composting services to businesses in Summit County. And next, we plan to implement a countywide education campaign. Now, we really realize that people still really remained a little confused about what goes in that bin. And for that purpose, and because of that, the other side of our annual report is a poster that really is an education piece that's, in addition to serving as an annual report that tells you about us, it's an education piece that informs you of the correct things to put in the bin. We're really serious about making sure residents know how to correctly recycle. So since 2005, you can see the amount of funding we've been able to give to communities from Macedonia, the city of Akron, Barberton, and Twinsburg. We have committed to helping the city of Akron with the closure, care of the Hardy Road landfill. And you can see a total of over $9 million that we've given to Summit County communities since 2005. So, Lead Teach Act, I'm going to talk about 3 programs that are premier programs at our agency that enables companies in Summit County to divert paper, plastic bottles and cans, and food scraps. The goal of these is to fill a void. Many times companies that are medium-sized companies or smaller have a difficult time affording these kinds of services. So we decided that what we were going to do is develop these services, get the kinds of haulers and vendors to deliver these services. We pay for the services. We give the companies educational material, and these services are available absolutely free to our Summit County businesses. The first is our commercial paper recycling program. You can see the statistics, what we've been able to divert from the landfill since 2005 and the cost of that program. And here's a sample of the companies that are part of that program. Right now, there's over 200 companies in the program, and they're varied. We even have a number of school districts that are on our program, but you can see the variety of the kinds of people that are here. And I apologize, I forgot to change the Akron Arrows logo to the Akron Rubber Ducks, I believe they are now, or
Yes,
something
it
like that.
is.
But what's important to us also, not just diverting that waste, what is meaningful about diverting that waste is the kinds of benefits that it accrues to us as a society in terms of conservation, when it comes to water, electricity, and saving trees. And you can see the diversion that took place just in 2012, the tons of paper, and the conservation that happens with that kind of diversion. Also, we have a on-site document shredding program, and that's important nowadays because everybody is concerned about the security of their documents, protecting their identity from identity theft and things of that sort. And Macedonia is one of our sites, and we're very pleased that we're able to use your parking lot in order to implement that program, and you can see the conservation that accrues to that kind of program too. Next is our bottles and cans. Companies have been, and especially schools, have been wanting to divert plastic bottles and cans from their waste stream for some time. And so we devised this program, and you can see the cost to date and the kinds of companies that are part of this. Also in your summary sheet, you can see companies locally that are part of our paper program that are located in Macedonia. And again, it varies. We have Integral Brotherhood, the University of Akron, Hale Farm and Village, Totally Cooked. One of our biggest participants is Summa Health Systems. They are really dedicated to diverting as much waste from their waste stream as possible because it really saves them money in disposal costs. And you can see the results just from 2012 of that program. And the last is our food scrap recovery program. This is very new. It is the only program in the state of Ohio that delivers a food diversion recycling service to businesses in the county. And you can see the variety of participants that we have in that program. Akron Zoo is our first and our biggest program. From that program, we were able to divert animal bedding, food, bones, of course, that some of the animals, aren't able to consume, and some of the agriculture or the yard waste from the lovely grounds. I'm sure many of you have been to the zoo and how lovely it is, but when you have that kind of beautiful landscaping, there's yard waste that goes with that. One of our most interesting participants in that program is the Summit County Jail. The sheriff deputies and the inmates are very invested in that program, and you can see we have our first supermarket, which is West Point Market, located in Akron. Akron Marathon is a very, very interesting participant in this program. After the runners finish the race, they're given bananas and everything, and we divert all that material. And you can see from our annual report that the director of that program really loves the ability to divert that kind of waste from their program. And again, results are what matters, and the benefits to our community for this kind of program and diversion. So, what do I need from you? Again, the plan was delivered in November on an electronic flash drive in order to save paper, and the point of the legislation that I'm asking for is to either approve or disapprove the plan, and it must be in 90 days from November, and that deadline is February 12th. So, Summit Reworks is our website. The plan is also available on that website if you'd like to review it. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer those. And I really want to say too, Mayor, thank you to the people who helped me hook this up. Technology is beautiful, but it also can be a bit of a pain. But thank you very much for the chief and the folks who helped me this evening. I appreciate it.
You represent Reworks very well.
Thank you very much.
You really do. Thank you. And you know what? You're number one with us, too, because that's what you are on the agenda tonight.
I appreciate that, too. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Yolanda. Hope to see you soon.
Your Honor, Mayor, before we go on, may I ask, I think it's a question for Mr. Tigitano. When we started the recycling program in Macedonia, I thought we were only allowed to recycle plastics 1 and 2. I noticed that Summit County is recycling plastics 1 through 7, and also now they're trying to recycle like the lemonade containers that have plastic. Has that changed with our recycling? Are we now allowed to recycle those?
Right now, they bring everything to the rec center. They're allowed to bring.
No, I'm talking about Republic, our waste company that picks up the recycles.
The waste company, I would have to look into.
Could you look in it just to see if it's
Yes, I
changed?
will.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Yolanda, thank you very much. Have a safe trip back to Akron,
Thank you very much.
and we will see you.
All right.
Okay. We're going to move on with our meeting, and the next item on the agenda is election of officers. May I have nominations for council president, please?
Mayor, I nominate Mrs. Tully.
All right. Are there any other nominations for president?
Yes, now I'm calling them, Your Honor. Oh, gosh. Yes, Mr. Mayor, I nominate Dave Engel.
Second.
All right, we have 2 nominations. Are there any others? I will close the nominations for president. Since we have 2 candidates, I'd like a roll call vote, please, Mrs. Arcisi. For council president, all those in favor of Dave Engel?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Roll call.
Did you not ask for roll call?
Roll call, yes.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
No.
All right, all those in favor for Mrs. Tully for council president?
You doing a roll call on that?
I don't think we need it.
Well, yes. Aye.
Okay. All right, Congratulations, David. I wish you luck this year, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Council Vice President. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for Council Vice President.
Mr. Mayor, I'd nominate Sylvia Hannigan.
Second?
We have a nomination. Do we have any other candidates for Vice President? Hearing none, let's move forward with a voice vote for Council Vice President Sylvia Hannigan. All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, congratulations, Sylvia. Wish you the best. Next, we have council people that serve in various capacities on our commissions. So we're going to start with the council representative to the Planning Commission. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Rita to the Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a nomination for the Planning Commission. Are there any other further nominations for planning? Hearing none by voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, council representative to Parks and Recreation.
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Tully to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Second.
We have a nomination. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none by voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are we gonna do finance tonight,
Yeah,
folks?
that's what we said.
All right.
Should we group that in with the other ones, so we do those all at once?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know that it really make a difference at this point.
Yeah, usually all the rest of them are committees, and the committees are done by council, and that can be done at any
I
time.
think in the past, we've done finance at the first meeting.
Okay.
And JED, because there's a vacancy. I resigned because of my personal schedule, so that needs to be filled.
So we're
All
on
right,
finance
so
chair right now.
then you want to make a nomination for the Finance Committee Chairman.
I'll make a nomination of Sylvia for finance chair.
Second?
Are there any other nominations for Finance Chair?
Nominate Jan Tully for Finance.
All right, we have two nominees, so may I have a roll call for Sylvia for Chairman of Finance?
Ms. Darrow,
Yes.
Mr. Engel,
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan,
Yes.
Mr. Mulner,
No.
All right, voice vote for Jan Tully for Chair of Finance.
Yes.
All right, one vote for Jan. Moving on to
Judd?
JED.
Mr. Mayor,
JED Board.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate Mr. Molnar for the vacancy at the JED, and I'd also like to congratulate him and his wife on the birth of their new baby, who Mr. Molnar showed me the picture, and he is the spitting image of that fine-looking gentleman on the other end of the
Does he have
council.
a beard? That's the part.
Well, except for the beard. I exaggerated. But congratulations, and I do want to nominate Nick.
I
you.
second the nomination for Nick for Judd.
Any other nominations for JED? By voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Okay, you want to do streets and highways, or?
Let's do that
Okay.
next time.
we're good to go. I wish our official in their capacities the best of luck. Next part of our meeting is going to be comments by the public. Public comments require a sign-in. We have a sign-in sheet. Unfortunately, I've lost it someplace up here. There it is. All right, we ask you to please come to the front microphone to address council and the mayor. State your name and address. The first on the list is Mike Miller. Mike?
Oh, Mike signed up.
Michael Miller, 1047 Berkshire Drive. I'd like to congratulate our new council officers and welcome our new council person. I'm here because one of our business owners contacted me and said he called the police department about a police matter, about a crime in progress, and he was told that there were no detectives after 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, we all know that we're spending money a lot of ways here. Maybe this is something we want to look at down the road. So if a business person does call and needs the detective services after 4:30, at least a policeman would respond. As of this moment, he has not been recontacted by our police department. That's all.
Thank you, Mike. I'll look into that for you. Next on the agenda is Mike Menhart. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here this evening to read a brief statement in response to Mr. Engel's email that he sent to the mayor. I believe it was brought to Mr. Engel's attention by Mrs. Hannah that I haven't been attending Civil Service Commission meetings. In this email, Mr. Engel stated that because of my attendance record, he thinks I should be allowed to resign. And that if I'm unwilling to resign, that he will make a motion at the January 23rd meeting to have council remove me from the commission. I've made attempts to resolve this issue with no success. I'm disappointed that Mr. Engel made these threats without talking to me or other commission members to gather facts surrounding this matter. I believe Mr. Engel's actions has tarnished my reputation, and I also feel that I've been discriminated against and that I've been treated with little or no respect regarding this issue. I'm here tonight to let council know that I have no intentions on resigning. I also let the commission know I'm not resigning. I'm also here to let council know what my intentions are. The first is that if the commission schedules a meeting prior to 10 a.m., I will file a complaint with the Department of Justice under ADA with regards to the reasonable accommodations. I'm also requesting that at the January 23rd council meeting, that Mr. Engel make a statement clearing me of any wrongdoing regarding this issue, and to acknowledge that he and council has no authority to remove me from the commission. If this doesn't happen at the next council meeting, I plan on filing a discrimination suit against the city. And because of this possible legal action, I won't discuss this any further in a public forum. Thank you, Mayor.
May I respond, Mr. Mayor, briefly?
Yes.
I didn't tarnish your reputation because I didn't bring this public. And part of my email, I said I had learned about it. I didn't want to bring it during the campaign because I didn't want to politicize it. But I was concerned that, and I did check with Josephine, that you hadn't been attending meetings for, I believe, 2, maybe 3 years. And
It's been 2 years or so.
okay. I didn't hear it from Mrs. Hannah, so don't drag Mrs. Hannah into it.
Can I ask where you heard it from?
You can ask. I don't remember.
tell me?
No,
Oh, you don't remember.
it's gossip. You know, I heard.
Right.
I checked it out. I checked it out in public. I didn't in private to an email to the mayor. I didn't announce it to the world as you choose to do tonight.
Well, I
And-
thought my feelings would be known.
Well, that's fine. If you want to make it known, then make it known, but don't accuse me of besmirching your integrity or your reputation when I kept it private. I said, we need to know what's going on. I'm satisfied as to the explanation that was given to me.
Well, you made no attempts to find out what was going on before you made this.
I thought what made more sense was to go to the administration who runs the city. Now, if that offended you, I can't take that back, but I sure as heck didn't make it public, okay?
Well, I just did.
That's whatever you want to do, Mike.
Huh?
I did nothing wrong.
Council has to do what they have to do.
All right, can we move on, please? All right, thank you. Let's move on to new legislation, and this evening we're going to start with Resolution Number 1, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer Resolution Number 1, 2014 for a first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution to adopt the solid waste management plan for the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we pass and post Resolution Number 1, 2014, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Resolution number 1-2014 passes. And this is the resolution that means we will be working with Reworks. Resolution number 2-2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer Resolution 2, 2014, for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
She said,
A resolution terminating
Oh.
the elected official recreation fee discount to the Macedonia Family Recreation Center.
Was that for first reading?
It was
It
or
was for second and third.
It was, but we originally agreed to keep it at first.
First, so,
But the roll call, no one
Yes.
suspended it.
no one suspended.
No one suspended the roll call.
All
So
right.
that's why I read it.
All right.
I'm going no now.
What do you mean no one suspended the roll?
The rules were just suspended, but if you want to leave it on first reading, just say you're going to.
Well, she said yes. She
I
voted
would like to leave it
suspend.
on first
The
reading.
motion was to.
I
For second and
understand.
third reading,
Yeah,
she
right.
should have just
You're-
offered it for first.
But she
That's
offered it
correct.
for
Yeah.
first, second, and third, and I thought we had a vote on it.
No,
Didn't people vote? Did you?
Yeah, you did
said
vote.
yes.
It was seconded.
So
So
we're-
you suspended the rules.
So we're on first, second, third reading?
Yeah,
Yes, that's
You
the
can now
point.
move to adopt it if you want,
All
or
right.
you can leave it.
so
Okay,
we're gonna do it?
yeah. Let's go.
roll
Okay.
call.
Okay,
Read it first, right?
Yeah.
I did read
Right.
it.
You did read it. Roll
Okay, so
call.
now
Was
we
there
have,
4 votes?
Yes.
Was there 4 in that? Okay.
now we have a motion to adopt. Who would like to do that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we pass and post according to law, Resolution 2, 2014.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
No.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Ms. Hannikin?
yes.
Mr. Mulner?
No.
Resolution number 2-2014 fails. Moving on to ordinance number 3, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 3, 2014 for its first reading by title only.
You don't want to do second and third?
On all of them?
Yeah, do it.
Huh? Okay, I'd like to offer ordinance number 3, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
No,
Aye.
Aye.
no,
Roll call.
no.
Roll call.
Oh, okay,
I did hear Ms. Hannikin.
okay.
Thank you. I did hear you, thank you.
So we don't need the roll call.
I
You're
did
good?
hear her. I don't need the roll call.
All right.
So it's just for its first reading. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 3, 2012, passed on February 9th, 2012, which provided employee health care benefits to members of council and amending codified ordinance section 16120C by removing it.
All right, now that was on a first reading. Let me take a moment here. As we are proceeding, we are working under a new set of rules. Tonight is the first night that we have 5 council people. When you have 5 council people, in order to bypass the 3-roll reading, you need 4. When we had 6 council people, you needed 5. So
Oopsie.
it's a little bit different now than what we did before. So the last ordinance only had 3 ayes to bypass the rules. So that means we cannot do that. It automatically goes to first reading. Okay? All right, moving on to
4.
ordinance number 4, 2014.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 4, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a COBRA compliance administrative service agreement with Continued Care Administrators, Inc. for the year 2014 with regard to all eligible City of Macedonia employees.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 4, 2014.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes, but I think we need to explain what we're doing here, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
No problem.
On our previous health administration, they also kept track of the COBRA, if I understand it, or insurance.
Yes.
And now that there's been a change, the new company doesn't keep track of COBRA compliance. COBRA allows a employee who is retired or lost insurance or left the city and a lot of other things to buy continuing health insurance after the city-supplied insurance would end. And failure to meet COBRA regulations can be a huge problem for the city. This is going to cost $900, and an outside company is going to make sure that we don't make any mistakes. And so it's a minimal cost. It's certainly a benefit to all employees, and it is certainly a huge benefit to the city. And so although we're spending some more money, I just thought that the people should know that the minimal cost and the advantage to the city. So I vote yes.
Thank you. Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
All right, good explanation. Ordinance number 5, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 5, 2014, but for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment of Matt Harmon to the position of part-time firefighter.
And what's your pleasure?
I'd like to move we pass and post ordinance number 5, 2014,
According to law.
Second.
according to law, excuse me.
That's okay.
All, roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully? Oh, sorry about that.
All right, ordinance number 5, 2014 passes. Matt, are you here? Is Matt here? All right, I was going to have him give a speech, so tell him he lucked out.
He was here when he was originally hired, Mayor. This is after their one-year probationary
Right.
period, both him and
Right.
Ben. so.
But still, I would have him talk at least 5 minutes. All right, ordinance number 6, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 6, 2014 for first, second, third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment of Benjamin Welsh to the position of part-time firefighter.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 6, 2014 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
All right, Benjamin is now confirmed. Ordinance number 7, 2014.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 7, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Mia Brown to the position of part-time dispatcher.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 7, 2014 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 7, 2014 passes. Everybody at City Hall that works in our safety forces rely on our dispatchers. They have a very hard job, and we're blessed to have people like me on our staff. Ordinance number 8, 2014.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 8, 2014 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Do I have a second?
Second. Sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Patricia Oros, is that right, Craig? To the position of part-time dispatcher.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 8, 2014.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance number 8 passes. Once again, Patricia does a great job for us. These employees were working for us for a while as contracted employees. Now they're becoming part-time employees because they have positions in other cities. All right, are there any other motions or legislative actions this evening? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the mayor's report. Many of you are very much aware of the closures of Ledge Road. Ledge Road has screen over the rocks trying to protect our residents, businessmen, and visitors that use that bridge and go under that bridge from falling debris. One of the problems with the fencing and the way they had it on there was that it would get ripped off. Somebody would go by, something would catch on the fence, rip it off, and we had to close the road. This is in all only a temporary means of repairing this bridge. Is it ever going to be fixed right? You better believe we're going to try and make it so it's fixed right. That would probably necessitate replacing it. Naturally, the railroad says there's nothing wrong with it. But I have 3 great fears about that railroad bridge on Ledge Road. Number 1, of course, is the falling debris. Number 2 is derailment. It just scares the hell out of me to think what would happen, because the trains going through Macedonia are going at least 50 miles an hour. If you look at the trains going through Macedonia, a lot of times you see tankers. Tankers are cylindrical tanks that carry liquids. It could be petroleum products, and we could have a Holocaust. So with everything in mind, that's a great concern, because if you look under the bridge and as the railroad train is going over it, you actually see the beams moving, and there's parts of the stonework missing. All right, and then the other thing we have to worry about, and please be concerned about this, is on December 16th, in the evening, about 7 o'clock, we had a horrible, horrible head-on collision there. I don't know if you would see the cars, and hopefully Rachel and Eric will be putting a picture in the paper one of these days so you can see them. You would look at that car and you would say, how did anybody even survive? Well, first of all, they survived because the baby was in the back seat in one car, the mother was in the front, the baby in the back was in a carrier, had the seatbelt on, the mother was in the front, had a seatbelt on. The driver of the other car went right through the windshield. None of those people have died, all right, and the mother was only held overnight and released the next day. What a miracle that was. This time, all right? What about next time? So anytime you're going under the Ledge Road Bridge, it's a little bit spooky. I constantly get complaints from people who bust off side mirrors. Side mirrors, I can remember a time when you could buy a side mirror for 12 bucks, 15 bucks. Now you're talking hundreds, all right, especially if it's remote controlled. So that bridge needs to be wider. That bridge actually needs to be taller, but the wider part is the part that really is upsetting to us. I feel that bridge is infringing on our road's right-of-way. That bridge should not be right next to the road. You know what, Norfolk Southern? Move it. If you have Nixle, and please spread the word about Nixle, you get texts. And when you get these texts on your telephone, they tell you that the road is going to be closed, the road's going to be open, a water main broke on 82, which we had happen twice right by Giant Eagle. This is really a good thing. It's nifty. All you have to do is text 3 8s and 3 7s is the address, 888-777. Send it to that and put in our zip code, 44056. At this time of year, we have a lot of chuck holes that will be appearing very soon. Unfortunately, as you have freezing and thawing, it happens and we can't stop it. All right, and when you see a chuck hole, it would be advantageous if you use the Macedonia app if you have a smartphone. If you hit a very, very bad chuck hole and you almost lose control of your car, we would very much appreciate if you would report that to us. Tell us about it so somebody don't get hurt there. And one of the things you can do with our app and with your smartphone is you just tap on the Macedonia app and you turn around in the driveway and drive over that railroad, that chuck hole, hold your phone out the window, take a picture of that chuck hole. When you do that, we know the exact GPS location of that chuck hole, which means that we can get right to it. All right, if you tell us, well, it's on Valley View, you know where that big white house is, it's not good enough. But boy, is that nifty to be able to take a picture of it and then send it to, it'll go right to our service department when you use our app, and they will be fixing it a lot quicker so no one is hurt. At this time of year, I would like to thank my staff very much for all that you did in 2013. I'm very honored to be the mayor and the chief administrator of this staff. We have the best. And I can tell you that because good things happen in Macedonia. We've been kind of blessed with getting some monies, getting federal funding, being able to do jobs that needed to be done for years. And sometimes the people give the credit to the mayor. But it's not just me, folks. It's all these great people I have working for me. They do a hell of a job. The most recent being the ramp relocation. I'd like to thank Mike. I would like to thank Chief Golden because they worked very hard with me and towards the goal of getting this done because the timing is right because of them widening 271. So it's a team effort here. It's not just about the mayor. So I would like to thank my staff for doing such an outstanding job. I look forward to working with you in this new year, 2014. And if you add all the numbers in 2014, it adds up to 7. And 7's a lucky number, so we're going to do even better this year. All right, and last, for the month of December, I have the revenue from our courts, $31,724, and that's the end of my report. Moving on to committee reports.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The planning met on December 30th, 2013. Subject was a conditional use request for Vista Springs Assisted Living Facility located at 30 Girl Scout Way. And we allowed, the conditional use was granted. Our next planning meeting is scheduled for 1/13/2014 at 5:30. And on the agenda will be a proposed wall mount at Sally Beauty Supply, 8210 Macedonia Commons, and also a proposed wall mount sign for Mattress Factory located at 8266 Golden Link Boulevard. And that meeting will, again, begins at 5:30 on 1/14/2014.
Okay, thank you, Rita. Once again, if you have the Macedonia app and you have a smartphone, if you go to that app, you can actually watch on your telephone the planning meetings. They are public meetings, you're welcome to attend, but if you can't make it, you want to know what's going on, you go to that Macedonia app and just go right to news, and listed there is the planning commission meetings and the council meetings, so you can keep informed. Any other committee reports tonight? Hearing none. Department reports. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple things. Now that we're getting this heat wave, we're going to continue doing some coal patching, and we always use the street guide. So we're starting at the south end, we will work north, we hit every single street, so hopefully we'll get some of these chuck holes that are popping up. Leafing, we're doing the same thing. Whatever, we have good days, we're gonna continue it. We'll get it done, and if anybody has any problems with their aprons or any kind of destruction in their lawns, don't worry about it, because every year in spring, we do our restoration for winter, for plowing. We'll also do it for leafing. So everybody, if you have a problem, it will be taken care of. And that's about it, Mayor. The coal patching, snow plowing, and leafing when it's possible.
Tell us about what we were awarded today.
Oh, from Governor Kasich?
Yes.
The whole collaboration, all the communities.
Tell the
were-
people a little bit about that collaboration.
The collaboration is a number of communities in Summit and Portage County. And what we're doing is basically, we help each other. We buy even manpower, equipment, anything that you might need, even as far as if you needed an HR person you could use from other communities. That's the type of thing that collaboration is doing. If I needed, if there was even a problem, say I needed salt, I'm running low. And I've made arrangements with our neighbor, Twinsburg Township. And if we ever got in a situation, you know they have that bin on 91 that holds 3,000 ton. We can go there. That's the type of things that this collaboration does. So we never have to worry that we'll be in that type of situation. We are good though with salt. That's one thing we don't have to worry about. But we have that option. And that's what this is good for.
And that's because you looked into that and made that happen, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. GFS still working on site work as well as design molded plastics. We've been working on capital improvement planning. I gave a copy to all the all the council members tonight. Gives you the top 10 of the roadway projects that we're looking for in 2014, as well as the stormwater and the sanitary sewer assessment project for Shepherd Road. We did throw the rec center parking lot in there. The price on that one, we're gonna talk about a little bit because we are looking into some alternative methods for that, but Jim and I, and I wanna get Angela involved in looking into it. We're gonna wait till after this winter on the products to make sure that they held up over winter before we test them out at the recreation center. The assisted living center, we're gonna be working on the plans, reviewing those. Talked to them today. We'll be doing detailed reviews, both on engineering and on the building itself. And we're working on our totals for the year end. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Angela?
Thank you, Mayor. Registration for spring soccer has opened as of January 2nd. We will accept registrations for our spring soccer program, which is open to boys and girls ages 4 through 14. That runs from January 2nd all the way through March 1st. And that program does run late March through early June. So if you're interested in having your 4 through 14-year-old play in our recreational league, now is the time to come in and register them at the rec center. Our future fitness program is scheduled to be up and running as of January 28th. Once again, we do this twice a year. This runs after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays for kids 8 through 13, and this helps children lose weight in a safe way, in a safe, gradual way, teach them healthy eating habits, and also gives them an exercise program that they can follow. Lastly, we're moving forward with the planning of a 2014 Summer Festival here in Macedonia, and right now the tentative dates are June 5th through the 8th, and I hope to be bringing a contract in front of council at the next meeting.
Did you mean the Spirit of Macedonia Festival?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get that to roll off my tongue and remember that, but yes, you are correct.
Thank you.
And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, good job. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're working on closing the year. The preliminary numbers are in as far as, and I gave everyone a year-to-date fund report. The good news is we started the beginning year balance with all funds of $6,276,000, and we're going to close unexpended balance with $7,864,000. So we'll have an additional $1.6 million carryover in all funds. One of the highlights of that was we collected an additional $750,000 more in income tax from the general fund alone last year. So $750 in the general fund is what's the leader on that. And then we also had good returns on our EMS. We topped EMS runs by over $75,000 from last year with the increased call volume. And by ordinance, we take 10% of the total funds from EMS runs and we give them to the FAIR. We transfer them to FAIR program at the end of the year, which is for education and training. So this year, before the transfer, it was $329. I transferred $32,000, which brought it down to $296 actually in the EMS fund, which is part of the general fund. So again, I'm sure Chief Black, can, as he's kept you informed, we've had a lot of call volume this year, probably the record, and that's reflected not only on his stats, but also from the EMS fees that we collect from the insurance companies. I didn't mention before, we did have notification from the Division of Wildlife on a grant from NatureWorks that we did write for Sugar Bush back almost in July, and they were late on making the announcements and awards, and it came into late December, or actually beginning of December. But I'm sure the administration knows about it. We will receive $32,000 for playground equipment that we applied for. The total cost, it's 75-25 matching. Total cost will run about $44,000, and it'll be installed at Sugar Bush, and I know Jim Diglatano and his crew will oversee that as well. And so we're excited about that. There's a couple grants that February 1st, the deadline that we're trying to get, are small litter grants, and one's a possible trail grant that we might be able to pull off by the time I'm working with Angela, and there's some interest as far as one of her employees that wanted to help co-write that. So we're hoping to at least submit something there and give it a try. It's been a good year for the city. We've budgeted conservatively. I'm going to miss Dave Engel's leadership. He's been, since I've been here the last 3 years, he's been the chair of finance, and congratulate Sylvia. She's going to step up into that role, and I know she's got some good ideas that'll come on board. I did want to announce to Angela, as far as we were talking about a fishing, we had a grant from last year, which was renewed again this year, and we had just before Father's Day last year, we had over 80 participants in a Passport to Fishing grant that we got, again through ODNR. And the fire department was instrumental. We had a lot of explorers out there, and I know Selinsky was out there helping kids learn how to cast. And that's what the grant is about, is to get people that are not involved in the fishing to come out, learn about fishing, and they get some free tackle and get them prepped up for it. So this year, since we had a big response last year, and I think we spent over close to $5,000 that ODNR awarded us. We wanted to go ahead and try to make that event a little bit larger, but because of the capacity of it, when we wrote this grant, I suggested to do something in the winter, and so we were going to plan a February and March event, but have them at the pool and have it for little kids from 10 and under, where they can come in, get a fishing pole, and learn real quickly the basics of fishing, maybe cast into the pool with no hooks.
Yeah, no
and,
hooks.
And then they'll be ready for the big June event, which we're hoping to expand it. We had 80 people last year, and when we wrote the grant this year, we're hoping to have about 150, if not more. So ODNR pays for everything. It's not a matching grant, and we're going to need some more volunteers from fire and police this year. I know Chief Golden was also out there helping, and it was a real well-run event. We had great weather for it, and again, we're going to move towards there. And I thought, this time of year, February, it was kind of back in August when we wrote the grant, I thought, that would be kind of a fun thing to do, and Angela was on board for it. So I don't know if we firmed up those dates in Saturday from 1 to 3 in February. I'm not sure what that date was. There'll be an announcement in the newsletter and in our webpage. So 1 in February and 1 in March, 25 kids each event we're going to try to cap it at, and hopefully 10 and under. And then they'll just learn how to just basically hook on a bobber and maybe toss it into the pool, and then get comfortable with that, and hope to see them out in June to catch some real fish on the pond.
Good job.
That's all I have.
Yeah, that's a very good job. I just love it when you get money from other sources, and it's out there, and it's there for us to try and get. One of the things that will be happening in 2014 is we're going to see a lot of orange barrels. Route 82 will be resurfaced from our western border all the way to the 271 bridge. And we all hate those orange barrels. But because you're talking about the finances of the city, I'd like to point out at this time that every single one of those people who are doing that road work pays city income tax to Macedonia. So with that thought in mind, try and keep that in your mind when you want to kill something, because you're being held up by all the orange barrels. Those people are paying city income tax, and it helps keep your taxes down, just like the grants you write. Tim.
Thank you, Mayor. We did have a record year last year. We had 1,541 calls, was our final for 2013. That was up from 1,495. I'd also like to say that we do soft bill residents, so there is no out-of-pocket expense for our residents for EMS. We accept what their insurance companies pay if they have medical, and the rest is written off. If they have no medical, then there's no bill rendered to them. So there is no out-of-pocket expense to our residents. But as the call volume goes up, so does the EMS billing. So that's a good part of that. I'd like to thank council for the final appointments of Matt and Ben. They've done an excellent job in the last year, and that's why we recommended them, taking them off probation. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tim. John.
Thank you, Mayor. If you can get some more information from me from Mr. Miller, I'm not familiar with his complaint. We do have 2 detectives. We've had 2 detectives for approximately 30 years in this department, and part of the budget last year was that we would hire a 3rd detective. That 3rd detective would work a little later in the evening. Our detectives are available for priority calls at all hours. Sergeant Ken Turley came in about 5:30 in the morning the other day, and then came in at 6:30 at night last Thursday, I believe, for another call. So they are available. They don't work after hours, so to speak, because they're tied up with a lot of court things, dealing with the prosecutor and a lot of courts, so they don't typically work after hours, but they are available for priority calls. The officers can handle most of the calls, but they do know when to call out the detective. So I'm not familiar with what he's talking about, if you can get that information to me. I'd like to encourage residents, if they hear things, to contact my office specifically. I had another email today asking if a certain thing was true at the Commons. It wasn't, but it appears some questions about things that happen in town due to other people, and they kind of make this little loop about Facebook things and all kinds of other stuff, and just come right to the source and we can answer your question and kind of squash a lot of these rumors that some people might get upset about and be alarmed about. Just come right to us, ask us, and then we can resolve it. So I think that's all I have. Nixle, if you haven't signed up for Nixle, we keep saying it. Talked to a few people today that didn't have it, got them signed up. Text 888-777, and in the message section, put the zip code 44056, and you get all these messages. So they also appear on our Facebook if we remember to click the correct box. But it's extremely helpful for anybody who doesn't have it. Please sign up. If you have any questions, call me. You can sign up on your cell phone. If you don't have a cell phone that receives text, you can do it online and get emails. So there are several things that you can do to get Nixle.
Good.
That's all I have.
Mr. Golden, I have a question for you. This was asked, so I'm going to ask you. If an officer issues a ticket, is it normal for them to put the badge number on the ticket of the officer that actually wrote the ticket?
An officer writes a ticket, does he normally put his badge number on there?
Yeah, there's a section for when you get a ticket
On the
in our
bottom,
city.
usually they scribble their name and the badge number. Usually that's what they do.
Is there any reason why they wouldn't put a badge number on?
I don't know why they wouldn't, no.
Okay. I was asked the
I
question.
mean, usually they do. If you have a specific, I can look it up and find out.
I was just asking.
Okay.
I was just curious because, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of times they write their name so fast you can't necessarily read the name, and then you go off the number, but it's my understanding most of the guys do. I don't know why anybody wouldn't, but maybe I'll glance through some of the tickets and see if some of the guys aren't doing that. But
All right, any other questions for John? Jackie?
We've just been working with Building and Service on capital improvements for 2014 roads. Besides that, nothing else to report.
All right, this list that you gave us of priority roads, you just don't pick those names of streets out of the air. Those are priorities, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, and you have the top 10 for us, and it's the beginning of the year. That's good work. Thank you. All right, Joe, anything?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right. Moving on, do we have any new business?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take the time to thank Mr. Engel and all the members of council, past and present, that have had kind words to say with the birth of my son. I do appreciate that, and it's been a heartwarming time, so I appreciate all that. In addition to that, I'd like to also thank some of our department heads. Jim, you know I call you all the time. There was a major pothole on 82, and I'll tell you what, within 2 hours he was out there fixing it, and it was, what, about 2 feet wide?
Yeah.
I appreciate that to the highest. It's not me that I'm worried about, it's other people hitting that, potentially damaging their vehicle or causing an accident. Mike, every dealing I've ever had with you has been great. I know that you work with Jim a lot and Angela, and can't thank you enough. And when contractors tell me that you're tough, that makes me proud, because I know you're doing your job. Angela, the Spirit of Macedonia Fest, I'm really excited about it. Can't wait for it to happen, and I know you're working hard, so thank you. Scott, what's our unencumbered carryover?
The unencumbered, $7,037,969.
I'm glad you knew that number, because that's why I thank you all the time. Our safety forces, I don't know the guy in the fire chair, he's missing something, I don't recognize him, but you guys are a class act, and don't ever let anyone tell you different, because anything that I've ever dealt with or anything that's ever been said about either of you guys and your team has been nothing but great things, so thank you, I can't thank you enough. Our legal department, well, you're a lawyer and you know what you gotta do, and we appreciate that too. So, thank you to all the department heads.
All right, any other new business? Old business? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming. See you next time.
They said it.